It's Thursday, March 10th, and we are live here on KZZH, and this is...
The Redwoods Community Report. I'm Dave.
And I'm Nate.
Thank you for joining us.
As part of the Redwoods Listening Post, and with help from local nonprofits Access Humboldt and Internews, this is a new, locally focused news magazine radio program. The intent is to showcase local issues through a collection of articles, opinions, and stories created by local community citizens, journalists, and media partners. We hope to create a radio program that will highlight our diverse community of voices and bring back the on-air dialogue. And yes, this is what we're doing here. This is a placeholder. We are only filling this space right now. Dave and I, Izzy and I, Mateo Noche and I. We want you to come on and help us out. These are your airwaves. See, I'm not really good at hosting a show. I'm a ham. I'm not a journalist. I get nervous. I mess up. But this is community radio. We don't need to be precise and professional. I know it's super cliche, but if I can do it, you can do it too. And with my help, I'm willing to help you out. So give us an email if you're willing to and wanting to be on the show. Our email is redwoodsreport@gmail.com. That's Redwoods with an S. redwoodsreport@gmail.com.
On this sixth live episode, we will discuss the Bartow Project with Co-Artist Directors Zuzka Sabata. We will also hear from the coach, Aaron Donaldson, on Coach's Cut.
That's right. But first, do look at a little bit of weather. We have a frost advisory in effect for tonight, starting at midnight through 9 a.m. Friday morning, tomorrow morning. Temperatures could be as low as 34 and will result in frost formation. So you might be having to defrost your car tomorrow morning. And then let's see, Friday it's going to be sunny with a high around 59. Saturday we should be, it says rain. I know we need it, and they told us last week that it was going to be rain, but we got a little bit. So let's hope we get some rain on Saturday. However, it is going to be really windy. Gusts, it said, was going to be up to about 30 miles per hour. So rain and wind on Saturday. Hopefully we'll get some weather. And Sunday there's a 30% chance of rain, and the high is about 57. So let's hope for moisture. And then let's see from the community calendar. Ooh, you know what is coming up next week? Check this out. Next week, hey, Dave, why don't you tell us about that? You start us off here.
Yeah, sure. So next week is Sunshine Week, which is a national nonpartisan effort to highlight the critical role of open government and freedom of information at the local, state, and federal levels. The week-long celebrations meant to promote dialogue about the imperative need for open government and freedom of information. National Sunshine Week's been celebrated every March since 2005, thanks to the hard work of the American Society of News Editors. So it includes print, broadcast, online news media, civics groups, nonprofits, schools, and libraries. And it's funded in part by a grant from the Knight Foundation. And the goal is to enlighten the public about the right to government information and strengthen communities.
And in celebration of information sharing, Access Humboldt will be hosting 3 free virtual events next week. First on Monday, March 14th from 3 to 5 p.m. The second on Thursday, March 17th from 4 to 6 p.m., where they will discuss the current media landscape. And I'll go into that a little bit more in depth here in a second. And then the last virtual event is on Friday, March 18th from 2 to 4 p.m. And on that one, they will discuss the Listening Post Collective, disinformation, and the future of information sharing. So let's see, I have a little bit more information. So on the first two, Monday the 14th from 3 to 5 and Thursday the 17th from 4 to 6, they're going to be asking and discussing questions such as, who are you, and what media news organizations are you representing today? What is your assessment of the North Coast current media landscape? What does freedom of information mean to you? And these are open to the public. It is on Zoom, so you will need to get the link by going to Access Humboldt's Facebook page. Then on Friday, as I said, the 18th from 2 to 4 during the Sunshine Week, let's see, it'll be the Listening Post Collective with Jesse Hardman of Internews. Feel free to attend one or both events. Please arrive 15 minutes prior to start to figure Zoom tech and rename ourselves. So again, Sunshine Week happening next week. And freedom of information, super important. Don't you think so, Dave?
Oh, big time. And it's funny because when they first started doing this, people really weren't, not everybody, it wasn't such a big, wide, broad knowledge base of what misinformation and disinformation are like.
Hmm.
But thanks to the efforts of groups like Project Censored, a lot of books were published over the years. And then fast forward to the modern era, and now we're seeing it both, with the American domestic misinformation, disinformation in our realm, but also internationally. So it's really poignant. It's really it's something we really ought to arm ourselves with critical thinking and media literacy skills.
And this is our community, and this is our freedom of speech in our community, freedom of media. There's slim pickings around here sometimes, but that's the whole reason for this program. All right, Dave, who we got coming up?
Our first guest tonight is Zuzka Sabata. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it was great. Sorry I mangled your name. It's such a cool name, and I thought for sure I'd get it right. But
no,
Zuzka,
you didn't. You
cool.
just got nervous. It's okay. It happens to everybody.
Well, right on. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We really appreciate your time.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Bartow Project, and tell us a little bit about where how it got to be?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I could tell you a lot about the Bartow Project, but I'm going to keep it succinct. I've been working on this project for 3 years. It is a collaboration between the theater company Dell'Arte International in Blue Lake and the Wiyot tribe, on whose ancestral homelands our theater has existed for 40 years. And the Bartow Project is a collaboration to bring awareness and celebration to the life and art of Rick Bartow, who was this incredible visual artist and musician that descends from the Wiyot tribe. He lived his whole life in Newport, Oregon. His family had migrated up there at the beginning of the 20th century and settled up there. But his father is descended from the Mad River Band of Wiyot, so he has ancestral roots in this area. Rick passed away in 2016, but he was a world-renowned visual artist, local phenomenon because of his musicianship, but then collected around the world, and just amazing. And I was leading an artistic partnership between Dell'Arte and the Wiyot tribe since 2016, and in 2019 we decided that we should collaborate to do something a bit bigger, and ended up getting funded by the California Arts Council to produce a play about Rick. And then the pandemic arrived, so the project went on pause for a little while. And as I tried to figure out how to actually realize what we wanted to do, I realized that I needed to rewrite the proposal to be more accessible, in particular because of the pandemic, in a virtual way. And I decided I wanted to try and make some films. I got really lucky because I acquired an amazing partner, my co-artistic director, Michelle Hernandez, who is a Wiyot tribal member and a professional filmmaker. And so we've been working together closely in the last year to produce 4 short films led by different teams that all have Native artist leads on the teams. And we're extremely excited to look forward to a premiere of these films in venues across Wiyot ancestral territory during the month of April.
Fantastic. So that tells us a little bit about who Rick was and about what the project is. I wanted to just point out for folks who don't know, if you just Google him, you can go and see the acclaimed works, all sorts of mixed media. The Smithsonian has sculptures there in their permanent outdoor exhibit. Absolutely amazing work. And this is, one of our local treasures. Can you tell us a little bit about the films themselves? I guess there's 4 short films that people can view as a longer film in certain screenings. Can you tell us about how that dynamic?
Totally, yeah. So the 4 short films are all distinct and made by different people, and there's different, there are 2 documentaries, there's an animation, and there's a dance video. So they're really different styles, and they all examine different aspects of Rick's art and life. And so, what we're going to be doing is presenting these 4 short films together in a single evening program. And yeah, almost every weekend in April, we're going to be in a different venue across the county. And hopefully they'll be the filmmakers themselves, so we can do a bit of a talk back afterwards. So yeah, lots of stuff is going to be happening.
So that sounds like a big time great way to do it. Get it out there, join the different community, different sections of the community, like bring it and present it. So I plan on going, but for folks who might not make it, how can they get access to some of this work online?
Yeah, so we also plan on, Del Arte will live stream the films the first week of May is what we've decided on now. I'm pretty sure that's what we'll stick to. But all this information is housed on our website, which is the bartowproject.com. And Bartow is just like the town Barstow without the S. So the Bartow Project, and it's all lowercase.com. And there's info about tickets. We don't have ticket sales up yet. For all of the venues. We do for Del Arte, which is the second weekend, but we're still ironing out the details on other places. But that is also where we will be posting information about the live streaming and the concurrent exhibits that one of our awesome collaborators, Brittany Britton, who is the director of the Goudini Gallery at Cal Poly Humboldt, the Native American Arts Gallery. She is in partnership with Froelich Gallery, which is Rick's gallery, and will be bringing down a bunch of his work from Portland to exhibit here locally, as well as sourcing artwork from private collections here.
So you mentioned that he hit the Rick's Gallery is up in Oregon. What other places can people go to see his work exhibited? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, the Froelich Gallery is probably the best place. Because they and the trust, I would say, hold most of his work at this stage, although he's held in private collections across the country. He had a retrospective exhibit that was organized by the Jordan Schnitzer Museum of Art. That's closed now. That finished up, I think, at the end of 2019. I'm trying to think of other. Oh my goodness! One of our filmmakers, Nanette Kelly, would know. She would be like naming the museums where he might be exhibited. There's a high desert museum, and I don't even know what state it's in at this point.
That's all right.
A lot of research that has gone into this, but not all of the research stays in the brain. So like you were Googling his name, that's
totally
the best way of figuring that out, because he is like literally in so many places, and he's collaborated with so many other artists too, which is cool, like across the world. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about these segments and maybe what might have inspired them? I know it'd be great to speak to the actual filmmakers, but if we have a little bit of time, maybe you could tell us a little more granular level what we might expect to see, so people know what's out there.
Absolutely, yeah. So I brought up Nanette Kelly, who's an amazing artist and educator and documentarian, and her focus on her film was that she interviewed people associated with the Crow's Shadow Institute for the Arts, which is the only fine art print focused arts institute located on a reservation in the entire country.
Oh, wow.
They're in Pendleton, Oregon. And what they do actually is they do residencies with artists who work with native artists who work in any medium. And those artists then partner with professional printmakers to translate their art into the print form. It's really radical. So Rick was one of the very first artists to be invited when that institute was opened up to partner with them. So over the years, he had multiple residencies, and all the work that he made there, he donated back to the institute for their own fundraising benefits. But they've done really cool stuff, like they've worked with composers like Raven Chacon to translate his music into a visual medium. So Nanette Kelly's documentary interviews James Lavador, who's also an extremely well-known artist, a native artist, and one of the founders of Crow's Shadow. I think I'm getting that right. And other people who knew Rick intimately, who knew him professionally. And it really gives a broad idea of his impact in the arts world and what he meant to people, both as an artist, but also as a native artist who had a particular history, who occupied a particular place in time. The other one I'd like to talk about actually is Michelle Hernandez's animation with the up and coming animator Shanti Jung, which is uses all of Rick's artwork to create a collaged animation that is about
Nice.
the renewal of ceremony in Rick's life. And in the life of the Wiyot tribe as well. And it's so beautiful. It's very accessible to like all ages. Kids will love that one. So.
I mean, he was so prolific, and the expressionism, if that's the right word, the human animal interaction, the oneness, and but it's really beautiful. So hopefully everyone's been inspired by your words to go out and check it out. Do you have one last way to direct people to this so that they can participate and then be engaged?
Absolutely. The project website is the best place to go, thebartowproject.com. But also you can call up Delarte, 707-668-5663, and we should be able to get you information from there as well.
Zuzka, this was great. Thank you so much. I'm going to check it out, and hopefully I see you there.
Okay, thanks so much. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks, Zuzka. And you are listening to the Redwoods Community Report on KZZH 96.7 FM. I am Nate Dogg, and we have Dave here with us this evening. And I just want to remind you that this is not our show. This is your show. We want the community's involvement in this program. If you have something to say, an opinion, if you have an event coming up, if you have somebody that you would like to interview on this program, please shoot us an email, and we will help you get to it and get on the air with us. Our email is redwoodsreport@gmail.com. That's Redwoods with an S, redwoodsreport@gmail.com. And if you have a PSA, a public service announcement, send it to us, redwoodsreport@gmail.com. We take written ones and we'll read them. But tonight we have a couple of pre-recorded PSAs that they sent in. The first one is from Food for People.
Food for People's Eureka Choice Pantry is relocating to Cooper's Gulch on March 29th. The new location at 1720 10th Street is located next to the Cooper Gulch Field and the Eureka Skate Park. Food for People's Eureka Choice Pantry provides community members with access to healthy and nutritious food, emphasizing both choice and a balanced diet. For more information, to make an appointment, or find a pantry near you, call 707-445-3166 or visit foodforpeople.org.
All right, that is Food for People. Yeah, they've had some complications with, as we all know, with their location. So they will be moving to this new location on 10th Street in Cooper's Gulch on March 29th. So keep that in mind. They are a great community resource here in our community. All right, the next one. Speaking of celebrating artists, there is an event coming up this Saturday. Okay. That something happened with that track, but luckily enough, I have the write-up for it. Sorry about that, folks. All right. Also on Saturday, it's the Ink People Street Party and celebration of Libby Maynard from noon to 5 p.m. at Synopsis. They will have live music and performances from, oh boy, here we go. Bandemonium. They will also have steel pan drums, Shoshona and Friends, among others. There will be food trucks, refreshments, arts, and culture booths, and at 3 p.m. Oh, yeah, it kind of cut off here. At 3 p.m. is when they're going to be giving that celebration to Libby, so they're going to probably ask her to come on stage or something and embarrass her or something, but she will definitely get the clout that she deserves. So that is the Ink People Street Party and celebration of Libby Maynard on Saturday from noon to 5. That's this Saturday from noon to 5 p.m. Sounds like a good time. All right, where are we at? Oh, those were the PSAs. All right. We are moving along a little quicker than I had planned. So next, get this. It is now time to get a little bit of knowledge. Some info, important info from our man, the coach, Aaron Donaldson.
Edwin Black was a critical rhetorician. He studied how communication and power mingle. One of his most useful contributions is the second persona. Dangling between the speaker, in this case that's me, and the audience, that would be you, is what Black calls a ghost-like invitation into ways of being. The words I use, the tone of my voice, it all tries to invoke specific kinds of responses, hopefully wonder or curiosity, maybe eye-rolling. The accumulated responses could be thought of as a kind of character, a second persona. If I treat you like a child, that persona is patronizing. If I hit all the right chords, it captivates. One of the things that is interesting about art is that it is vivid. It moves us in meaningful ways, but at the same time, we are invited to dislike art, or at the very least, to interrogate it. Unlike a billboard flashing "Eat at Joe's," art is collaborative. There are more possible reactions when we engage art. Art can be insistent, but unless we're talking about the most nefarious forms of art, like corporate or state propaganda, it is inherently not domineering. Art prompts reaction, invites consideration. In this way, in Black's terms, art is critical rhetoric, and it always matters. This has been Coach's Cuts for Thursday, March 10th, 2022. If you have arguments you'd like to hear me consider, you should email ad2702@humboldt.edu. That's ad2702@humboldt.edu.
All right, Aaron. Thank you very much for that input. And we're going to be able to do something which we haven't been able to do in weeks past, as these Coach's Cuts and Dave's Corner, whatever we're calling that one, always goes up to the end of the show. So now we get to ask follow-up questions, which I've been really excited about. And this is, I think we're going to call this segment, as of right now, the soapbox. If you have a soapbox you would like to do for us, send us an email, redwoodsreport@gmail.com. All right, Aaron. So as the speaker, you invite me into a way of being, meaning really you are manipulating me, or the word you used is invokes. But basically, you're manipulating me or the audience into a person I may not necessarily be.
The really fun part about the second persona is that it's very much a collaboration. I am going to try to, I like the word invite or invoke you to confront this conversation in a particular way. And if you are already that person, then you're ready to be that person. If it's someone you're willing to become, then you're willing to become that person and step into that process. If you're just turned off by everything that I stand for, then you're going to see it as very manipulative, and you're definitely going to reject that.
Okay, so it does not necessarily need to be, as you said, nefarious, but it can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I
see
this,
it definitely can be.
I see this being very useful in your field of debate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really important when we look at the ways that we frame our disagreements. There's going to be the other people, and at some point, the ways that we render those people is going to have consequence. And if we refuse to invite them to a conversation in ways that are meaningful for them, then we really can't ever be said to be having a debate. We're just kind of haranguing each other, so to speak.
Talking at each other. And yeah, there's a lot of that going around these days. And I think that's one thing, this is one reason why I like having you on, is because I think we've lost, a lot of us have lost the ability or realize the importance of debate. It is okay to disagree with each other and still be friends, or still at least still be respectful. And I don't see that so often nowadays. I mean, just as an example, I remember when Congress people used to say that my esteemed colleague from the other side of the aisle. I mean, I don't want to get into politics right now, but there's none of that going on. All right. So another question for you. The second persona character is the person you have made me become: a wanderer, curious or captivated, or delusional. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, you can definitely see worlds where we create delusional realities based on the realities that we invite people to inhabit. And I think we're seeing that a lot right now with like election denialism, COVID denialism, and things like that. The delusion is that we're believing things that are just empirically false. But if the invitation is appealing enough, then it doesn't really matter if it's false or not. We will just be that person and we'll step into that person. And I think that you're right, Nate, that there is a lack of an ability to argue effectively right now. Deborah Tannen has a great book called The Argument Culture. And in this book, she tells us what a lot of us already know. When we think of an argument, we're having a fight or we're having a contest. The Greeks used to think of arguing as wandering in the woods. We're just going to wander and we're just going to see what we find, or we're going to pass the time. I got to walk to Athens. That's a long way. Will you come with me and argue about whether or not privacy is important or not? There's really no way to win that argument. And that argument requires the other person to care and requires the other person to participate. And if we have esteemed colleagues, as the myth of politics goes, then we can generate really meaningful policy, because that back and forth and that deliberation generates better reasoning and better arguments. But when we begin with a standpoint that says that they're inherently the enemies of the people, there's really nowhere to go but down from there.
Wow. That's so true. Yeah. Okay.
So Aaron, I want to ask you real quick. I know we don't have a lot of time left for some of your wisdom and knowledge, but you and I have rapped before. We got a good rapport. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I think this is something that you're down with. But full call and the spectacle. Yeah, part of that, I don't know if you want to go in this direction, but that spectacle, one of his, observations is about how that spectacle can be a scaffolding. So is there a way that art can be used both to liberate and to sort of entrap how we think and how the ways we see the world?
Yeah. As I read Foucault, he's really disciplinary. His most famous book is Discipline and Punish. He sees art and all communication as a discursive structure or platform, which mostly entombs us into very predictable modes of response. But my advisor, Dr. Christina Faust at the University of Denver, and I had a fun conversation applying Foucault to the artist Banksy, or the collaborative of people known as Banksy, or all of you anonymous artists out there who are throwing your art up into the world, but not necessarily telling us what it means or who you are. Art is, again, like I said at the beginning in the cut, it's really fun because it really does invite you to consider it as a work of art. And with Banksy, a lot of times what you see is a world where the enemies are not really named or not really shown, but they're definitely implied. Or if they're shown and named in fallible ways as opposed to villainous ways, I guess. And rather than telling you yes or no, what this kind of work does is just prompt you to wonder and to think about it.
Right on, Aaron. Thanks again for dropping some knowledge today.
Appreciate y'all very much. Thanks for having me.
That was the coach, Aaron Donaldson. Thank you, Aaron. All right, Dave.
All right. Special thanks to our supporters, Access Humboldt and Internews.
And a big thanks to our partners and contributors, Zuzka Sabata and the Bartow Project, the coach, Aaron Donaldson, and a big thank you to our engineer, Mateo Noche.
Again, we are seeking help from our community. We offer this radio platform to you to help restart the on-air community dialogue.
To share your voice, your concerns, your stories with our community, please send your story submissions to us by emailing redwoodsreport@gmail.com. That's Redwoods with an S. redwoodsreport@gmail.com.
This has been
the Redwoods Community Report,
a new locally focused news magazine radio program that showcases local issues through a collaboration of articles, events, and opinions created by local community citizens, journalists, and media partners.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Dave. Thank you for listening.